When I was at Brick World Chicago, I ran into MicahNike sitting at his table. There he showed me some amazing decals, stuff that, well, didn't even look like decals. I've always believed that decals were at the bottom of the printing food chain, with UV on top of that and then pad printing on top. This has always pushed me away from decaling, which in fact I have this big old pile of decals right now sitting in a bin alongside my other third-party bricks. It's a little overwhelming at first, but I asked Micah for a step-by-step guide for exactly how we made these decal figures look so good.
I'm MicahNike, and I'm going to show you the process of decaling a Lego minifigure. The process begins with these minifigures and these decals right here. So we got Waxer, Boyle, Kix, and Commander Wolf. I hope there's no Ninjago fans here because we're gonna wipe these Zane torsos. To wipe these torsos, we're gonna first remove the arms. We're going to use some sandpaper to wipe off the printing. So we're just gonna rub it off. Look at that. Already a lot of progress. It's really quick when you do it this way. That's all that we need to do this for, is so that the surface is smooth enough for the decal to actually adhere to the surface. This next part is going to be crucial for the decaling process, because if you want to be able to bend the legs, this is a very necessary step. If you don't carve hips on decaled minifigures, what will happen is if you bend the leg up like this, it'll shred the decal. But this didn't happen to this one, because there is a little gap right here. Comparing it to an official minifigure like this, you can see this has no gap and this one has a gap because it is decaled and it needs that gap. To create that gap, I use this Citadel mold line remover and this nail drill right here. I also like to lay a paper towel down because this part actually gets really messy. Obviously, to create this gap, we're going to need to remove the legs like this, and we'll start the nail drill and use it to take off some excess material like this. I go more into depth on this during my tutorials on my second channel, so if you want to check that out, you can. If Mayday will plug it in the description, I don't know. The nail drill does a good job at getting the bulk of it off. The Citadel mold line remover, or the Citadel knife as I like to call it, is just really good at removing the rest of this stuff and making sure that it's more smooth. Now we're going to test it out, put the legs on, and see if there's a gap. Again, this is before and this is after. You can see that there's a lot of space for the decal to pass through. Now that the blank bodies are ready, we're going to put them on these little contraptions that I made to apply the decals, and then we'll apply the decals. So we're going to take our first sheet and cut it out. This is Waxer that we're going to start with. I cut most of this out with the scissors, but some people like to cut it all out with an X-Acto knife. Some people like to cut with the X-Acto knife all the time, but I only like to do it when it's somewhat of an emergency. Oh crap. You don't want to drop it in the water like I accidentally did. I should have probably wiped this up right here. If you drop it in the water, the decal starts coming off because that's what it's meant to do. It's a water decal. So I'll let this dry for a little bit since I'm midway cutting it out. After I have it cut out, I'm now going to place it into the water, each one of these, and I'm going to put them in the right spots onto each minifigure. After sticking it in the water for a little bit, I can take it up like this with my tweezers, and I'll slide it off. And this one is going to be a little bit complicated to slide off potentially, but we got it. There we go. And now we're going to put it on the helmet. I actually like to take it off the stand, then go like this. There we go. Then you can adjust it, because these are water decals, so you can really adjust it as much as you want, as long as it's wet. Now I can just sponge it down once I have it in the right position to get rid of all the water, just like this. Then once I'm done with that, I get out my Q-tip, and then I start going like this, getting out all the air bubbles, because air can get trapped in between the decal and the surface you're applying it to. So this is just gonna take all of that air out, and it's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, there is one minor imperfection right here. You can see that the decal, I don't know what happened there. Maybe I cut too far with the scissors, but it kind of tore a little bit there. Once I apply all the decals onto the minifigure, it's time to spray it with sealant so the decals don't peel off. I usually use matte clear sealant, but I might use satin clear sealant for 2 of the clones just because I'm on the fence. We'll start with the matte clear. Take it up like this. Spray it on. Now these next two, I'm gonna try out satin clear because I used to use this and it might look a little bit more Lego accurate. Nice and globbed on there, just how I like it. These have been drying for about an hour outside and it still isn't done drying. This one is though, but this particular sealant is just taking ages. I'm not completely sure why, but we are going to start putting this one together. It's been almost 2 hours and it still hasn't completely dried yet. I'm just gonna put it together, screw this.
And after that detailed walkthrough, you get these decaled figures. I'm so shocked by how good these look in my collection. As described by Micah, it's really this sealant here that pushes these figures to be some of the best decals that I've personally seen. Micah uses official blank clone helmets to decal his figures, giving them a great official look and feel. The wolf figure here is a realistic Phase 2 style clone, or RP2. This helmet by Micah looks great. He also included a P2 2020 style Wolfpack Trooper, which he uses CMD's old printing here, but I couldn't tell too much of a difference. These 2020 style decals look amazing and almost official. It looks like something that LEGO would make. Kix, the 501st medic here, has his decal arms, and I think I'm gonna save those for later. He's missing this top line on his helmet, and the blue is slightly lighter than the official 501st color, but it's still a figure that looks good. The Waxer and Boyle here capture every design perfectly in the 2020 style. The Twilight on his helmet is so cute, and when you look closer, you can still tell it's a decal. But at the same time, these are still the best looking decals I've seen. I mean, yeah, this is no UV or pad printed figure, but the state of these affordable decals is getting much better. It's a paper water slide decal that you paint onto your figure. Maybe that's not for you, and that's okay. It isn't for me. It's not a realistic expectation to say that these seamlessly blend into your collection because that day isn't here. But in its current state, it's impossible to deny that decals quality is getting better. The sealants that they're using is better. I don't know. These creators here are helping new users jump on it and give it a try. It's a cheap, easy activity that a lot of you guys could try out. You can use code MicahNike on CMD decals for 10% off, and he gets kickback from that too. Thanks for sending these over, guys. I appreciate checking these out, and Micah's on to something here with these decals and the sealant he's using, so that's it.